So Chris, where did you start from?
I started from Lechlade, up in the Cotswolds, about 30 miles from Oxford.
Excellent.
It's about 20 miles down from where the Thames actually starts, but it starts as a muddy patch in a field.
Which you can't do.
About 10 miles later you can actually canoe, but you can't row in one of these. Lechlade is the highest navigable point on the Thames.
From there you've come down doing, I think, roughly 25 miles a day?
Actually, 28 miles the first day,
Wow.
32 miles the second day, about 25 yesterday, and today will be about 28.
Wow. That's quite good going. Is that an average for a canoeist? I mean, it
Well,
seems a lot.
people do all sorts of, they come down the Thames all sorts of ways. Single scullers, like myself, do it in this sort of time. Some people do it in record time. You know, there are some amazing records for coming down the Thames, but then you need a really huge crew to open every lock just as you get to it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that stuff.
And what's been the most challenging point so far?
Well, day one, I got run over by 4 ladies in an electric punt who were a little bit out of control, and they went right over the stern and disappeared into the bushes. And I was a little ungallant because I didn't actually go back to rescue them. I just thought, you know what, I'm keeping going.
Keeping going.
I survived.
The boat wasn't damaged at least.
Now, this is a tough boat.
Yes.
This boat can take a lot of damage, and that's one of the reasons I chose it, because you never know what you're going to run into.
And you say this boat came all the way from Australia?
All the way from Australia. It was an Australian who designed it. They make them out there. They're mainly used as training sculls. With these stabilizers, it means anybody who doesn't have much experience can get in and row them quite quickly. But I chose it because for this kind of solo long distance rowing, you want something that's going to keep you afloat. If you run into something, you know, there's all sorts of things that can tip you over back up on the river.
And what would say would your most pleasurable part? Or was it watching the ladies go into the bush?
No, there have been. England is so beautiful, and from the river, you're seeing everybody's place from the back. The countryside is incredible. Cotswolds, then you come down Oxford into the Thames Valley. There are some staggering pieces of landscape that take your breath away. You could be rowing through a film set. That's the best way I can put it. But also you literally row past people's houses, and whereas some of these enormous places may have gated enclosures on the other side, security gates you'll never see, from the river, I can see everything. So it's just a very interesting look into England in the 21st century. You know, there's kind of everything on display. And of course, English people love being out on the river, so you've got everybody on display as well, and you never quite know what they're going to do. After the 4 ladies ran into me, I decided, treat every boat that's coming towards you as one that's going to run into you, and then you'll probably be okay.
That's right, but not so fearfully. I mean, it is obviously it's a pleasurable time you've had on the river.
Yeah, it's been I've enjoyed it, but obviously it takes its toll.
Absolutely. Can you do that again for us then? Just get that. Oh my God, Chris.
You get fairly blistered hands.
Wow,
You get very tired at the end of the day, and your bum gets hurt. And when that hurts too much, then your legs start to seize up. So you've got to stop. I stop about every hour just to get out,
Just get out and have a stretch.
Yeah, I do have to do that because these seats sitting on them. I'm in the boat for the best part of 9-10 hours a day. So you've got to get out and stretch.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There's a few aches and pains, but it's been good.
And you've got tomorrow is your last day?
Tomorrow, hopefully, we make Putney. Yeah. It's a day of 2 halves. The first half, 12 miles, is on this river, the Thames, the non-tidal Thames. And then at Teddington, we drop down onto the big river, which is the tideway, the river that flows through London.
Yeah.
At that point, it's tidal, and it's big, and it's a totally different river. And I have to obey the rules. I'm going down with the tide. I do not want to row against the tide. I mean, 40 years ago, I used to row competitively on the tideway, and getting against the tide you don't want to do. So we've timed it for late afternoon tomorrow to drop onto the tideway, which hopefully puts me in Putney about 6 o'clock tomorrow evening.
Excellent. I understand you're doing this for Mary Curie. Do you know the telephone number on your back? Do you want to just say it if you know it?
I don't actually.
Well, let me tell you, it's
We'll shoot you from behind as you
Yes.
Yeah, this is a fundraising row
Yes.
for Marie Curie. My first wife, Angela, died in a Marie Curie hospice 8 years ago. So I've been planning to do something like this for 8 years. And so it's great to be able to do that, because I can't speak too highly of Marie Curie. Simple as that. They are just amazing. It's an amazing institution. It's amazing people. And, her last weeks were completely different than they would have been anywhere else. We were very fortunate that she was in a Marie Curie hospice. Their treatment was so superb, utterly wonderful. And I've wanted to do something for them since then. It's required me to get 5 months to train. I needed a gap to train to do these 5 days of rowing, because I have to be reasonably fit. So I'm delighted to be doing it for Marie Curie. And if anybody's interested, who might be watching this, I don't know, but if anybody's interested, just go to our website, jubileevoice.com, because our Just Giving site's on there, and it will remain on there for a few weeks. But that brings me to the other point, which is that when I was planning it, I realised that it was actually my 50th year of rowing. 50 years ago this summer, as a 13-year-old youngster, I started rowing at school on the Thames. So it's my Jubilee year. I'm doing a lot of work on the biblical concept of Jubilee, working out how this economic model of Jubilee might work in the 21st century. So I spent the last 2 years working on that, and I suddenly realised, I've got my own personal Jubilee as far as the water is concerned. So that's why we're calling it the Jubilee Row. It's, for me, 50 years on and off I've been on the water. Mainly racing, but now I'm doing this. So the Jubilee Row became, and that's a very personal thing for me. And then really, as we approached the beginning of this road a couple of weeks ago, we started talking to friends, we started praying with friends about it, and then people started to say, you know what, this is a very interesting time to be rowing down the Thames, because the Thames is such a river of history, but it's also a river of sacred history. It's the major highway of Britain, of England for sure, for hundreds of years. And so much has happened on it. The rich and powerful have always lived on it. Kings and queens live on it, or have lived on it in palaces. Well, here we are at Windsor, the Queen's home. And you just, in this extraordinary time when everything seems to be changing, here I am rowing down this river. And I thought I would row down the river and have lots of deep, reflective conversations with God. It hasn't actually turned out that way, because most of the time I'm thinking, my bum hurts, or my hands hurt, how far is it to the next lock? Those kind of things. But there are many, many people praying for me as I go down the river. People are getting all sorts of revelations, all sorts of insights. And I was actually, 2 days ago, I was standing, I pulled over, couldn't get out the boat, the bank was too high, so I was standing sort of thigh deep in the water, just stretching. It was fine, it was beautiful actually, some of the places are just beyond belief. And the Lord spoke to me and he said, you're rowing down the river and you're unlocking gates as you go. Well, of course I'm going through lock gates, but he said you're unlocking gates. Every time you go through a lock, it unlocks the next stage of river. He said, you're doing that, but it's the people on the land who are fighting the battles. Now I still don't know what that means, but all I know is this is part of a much bigger enterprise going on. And I'm sure there are other things going on this summer as well. So yeah, so this is a kind of voyage on different levels. It's a fundraiser, it's a personal thing for me which reaches back into my childhood, but also it's a prayer voyage. And I don't know what's going to come out of this. I'll be writing a book, because that's what I do. But I mean, other people, all I know is that my wife Althea, my second wife Althea, has been talking to people all the way down. There are so many people praying and getting revelation. So I don't know what's coming out of this. At the moment, all I'm doing is just concentrating on getting through each day and making sure that I'm fit to do what I've been told to do, which is row down the river. All the guys on the ground who got the hard work, they're running around and whatever, but also they're fighting battles. We had some really difficult, there were some quite dodgy moments yesterday. Just dodgy moments, stuff that was going to go wrong, boats that nearly run into you. I tore a muscle first thing in the morning. I had to be helped into the car. All sorts of stuff. And
Yet you still did all those miles.
but we're still going. We're still going. God is in charge.
Well, Chris, honestly, I think many people say that they'll do something for Mercury and never do, and you've done that. And many people say they'll do things like this with the Jubilee, and many people say they'll do things for God and never do. You're an inspiration because you've done all three, and you're continuing to go. So, Chris, really, well done. You should be very proud of yourself, and I'm sure somewhere up there, someone's proud of you too.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
God bless.
Good luck.
Okay.
God bless. Don't clap, my burst a blister.